Hello and welcome back to this channel. Today's gonna be a very fun video because in the past few days we've done so many things, so I really do want to just spend an entire video on talking about everything we've done lately, from the garden outside to the garden indoors. We're gonna be talking a lot about just farming, agriculture, all of that fun stuff, and we're also going to be going over to the aquaponics, doing some stuff with that in the very beginning of this video. So this is going to be an informational plant tour. So before we do go ahead and start today's video, please subscribe, hit the bell notification on also do not miss our video, and please like this video. Let's go ahead and start today's video. Aquaponics. It's a great way to grow plants. The system lately has done okay. I've had a lot of issues, a lot of problems, but I will say something I'm very excited about is the system is slowly getting older. For a lot of people, that is worse. But for an aquaponic system, that means every single day that passes by, the system becomes more evolved. Meaning the fish grow up a little bit more, everything gets used to the system just gets a lot more used to it, all the plants get used to it, everything, and all the nutrients balances just get even better every single day. So it's just this perfect balance of life, this giant ecosystem, everything working together to form a perfect ecosystem. So very excited with a lot of progress, and a lot of stuff has actually started to thrive lately. These plants are really starting to grow, and lately I've been seeing a lot of growth. I'm gonna wait for these plants to grow a little bit more. Once they do get a lot bigger and I know the system is gonna do really well, and I can have a really successful harvest, I might introduce a few new things into the fish tank and the ecosystem eventually. So maybe next week, maybe the week after, definitely not this week. And yeah, so stuff is just doing okay. I'm not gonna say stuff is doing really good, because theoretically it's not doing that great, but root wise, stuff is looking pretty good. I've not noticed anything like, ooh, that's really bad and something I should really look into a little bit more, and all of that. So I'm gonna be really looking into these plants very soon. So going down to this, the oak leaf is getting me a little bit worried. The reason why I say that is because I kind of feel like the plants are starting to die out, which is not good at all. So that could be lots of factors, with either root rot, not enough nutrients, not enough light, which there's definitely a lot of light, but I wonder if, since the system's a lot bigger, it needs more nutrients. Because I've already done this system before, and I had the same amount of fish in the original system, and this system did very well. So I'm wondering if it just needs a lot more nutrients, and right now it just doesn't have that much nutrients. So the roots look okay, but the roots look like they have nutrient, like the roots are nutrient burnt. Meaning the nutrients balance is so high in the system, it's killing the plants. I do think once a lot of the plants can get a lot of growth happening and a lot of progress going on, I think I'll start to see a lot more progress. There needs to be a bigger plant in it that can take as much nutrients as possible and try to make the nutrients balance a lot more better, so the plants can start thriving a lot more. And once the plants do start growing and needing a lot more nutrients, I do think the balance of life and plants in this will be at a perfect stage. And I might consider more fish, but for now I'm going to stall as long as possible. And yeah, so let's go ahead and start talking about the shelves over here. But first, I actually got a lot more soil, and I just ordered a lot more supplies. So hopefully that stuff will get here in the next few days, and all of that supplies will be going outside for the huge garden. So I ended up getting a ton of coconut coir, and I ended up making a lot more soil. So that's exciting. And I have a lot more supplies too. Ecosystem's thriving. I got a ton of perlite, a huge amount, a little bit of compost, but I've used a big portion of it. So that's exciting, a lot of progress. I did end up planting some new stuff, and stuff is always being moved around nowadays in this room. So first thing that's new is now I have flowers starting to germinate. Lots and lots of flowers. First thing is going to be daisies, and those will probably die out later on. Then cosmos, and then California poppy seeds. And marigolds. Now, the marigold sign is a little bit different because I'm actually reusing seeds that I harvested last year from flowers that ended up drying out from the insane Missouri heat. So that's very, very, very exciting. I actually just planted those about 30 minutes ago, so no growth yet, but other stuff going on. We have a ton of cherry tomatoes, and I really do hope those do as well as they could possibly do. I'm thinking that I might let these grow, and then once I start to see them starting to come up, I'm going to take all the plants out, and then I'm going to replant them in as many of these pots as possible, because tomatoes will be one of my main produce. And I really do want to learn how to grow as much tomatoes as possible to really get that to be as successful as possible also. Then, I have a ton of strawberries. Lots of strawberry plants, only one growing. I really do think, so I'm working with a ton of strawberry plants in a different area right now to kind of grow them hydroponically. Pretty much exactly how I'm growing the tomatoes over there, but a little bit of a different setup. And today, well, lately I've had one growing out of 3. Today, I just saw life start in the other system, in the other strawberry plants. So that is very, very exciting, meaning that these could do the same thing. I'm thinking maybe a lot of these have just gone a lot more deeper into hibernation and they're slowly coming back, and that one right there was just like, I'm ready, put me in soil, I'm gonna start growing very, very quickly, and give me some good light. So I think that's kind of what that one was saying, because these will take about a week or so to go, and I was very mind blown with how fast that one was growing. But I'm gonna stall a little bit, see if these do grow, and if they do grow really well, I think I might go back to the store and try to get as many as possible, because I do feel like bare root plants are a little bit better to get than actual strawberry seeds. Just bare roots. The only thing I really hate about bare roots is you have to get them at one, like the main season, which is going to be the beginning of spring. And then you have to get them when that first shipment does come in, because those plants are going to be as best as possible. Because the shipment that comes in later, towards like middle June, those are just the existing plants that there's no growth. Those plants are dying out, just no growth at all. So we'll see how those do, but I think I'm very, very excited about that, because that plant's been growing for about 4 days, and it's already about the same size as the seedlings right there. Then I have a ton of stuff right here. I have yellow peppers, spring tomatoes, which are your classic cheeseburger tomatoes, or just sandwich burger. Interesting, just normal sandwich. Then I got red and green peppers right there. Very, very excited about those. All of those are going to be normal bell peppers you can find at the supermarket. I'm not going to grow anything spicy this year. Going over here, I'm germinating a ton of strawberries, and I'm starting to see some seedlings starting to come up. I'm not going to show you yet, because I don't really want to mess with it by tapping on the top of it. And I really want to keep the balance of humidity as good as possible in it. Going down, I have the strawberry plants right here. These are doing okay. These are going to be seedlings, so they're not going to be as good for a very long time. The blueberry plants, I still have a lot of hope for it, but these whatsoever have had pretty much no growth, which is really disappointing. Then I have poppy seeds and cosmos. Those are doing pretty good too. Very, very excited. Then I have a ton of bunching onions, and I might cut these again today. The plants are starting to get big in that one. This one plant right here needs a little bit of some cutting possibly there. But for now, I think it is doing pretty good. I've actually noticed lately some of the rosemary has actually started to turn a little bit brown. So I don't know what that really means, but I will say the plants smell really, really good. And I'm going to try to take these off like that. So I'm very, very excited about that. Looking up, I have a lot of stuff happening right here, from just growth in general to just constant progress. So incredibly excited for all of that. And yeah, so we have a lot of stuff growing. Just very, very excited for all of these flowers, and I even have a lot more flowers I'm growing right now. So very, very, very excited for all of these, and I do think there will be a lot of progress eventually with all of these too. So things I'm growing right here is gonna be cosmos, aster, impatience, 4 o'clock, kypress, and Snapdragon. Very, very excited about that. Now let's go on to move on to another shelf. So, talking about these shelves, I have a lot growing over here, more than I've ever been growing. Just going big with this part. We're growing giant tomatoes. These are going to be cherry tomatoes. I probably should have ordered dwarf kinds because these are a lot bigger than I hoped. But very, very excited about that. Going down to this shelf, lots of progress with this. This is our sugar tomatoes. Sugar tomatoes. These are our sugar peas. Really, really excited about that. And I do hope that these do eventually start to flower. Then the tomatoes are actually starting to flower, so that's very, very exciting. And I might start seeing a lot more progress later on. Then the strawberry plants, these are pretty much what I was talking about earlier. These are just basically growing it hydroponically. Very, very cool stuff happening there. And then right here, I ended up germinating even more stuff right here. I'm growing marigolds, zinnias, and even more zinnias right here. So very, very excited about that. Talking about the blueberry plants, I have two different kinds. It is a lot warmer lately, so I'm very, very excited to start to go ahead and put these in the garden outside. So we'll see when that does eventually happen. But other than that, just so incredibly excited for all of this. And we do have two kinds. I don't really know the difference between each one, but I ended up buying both the kinds at the store. Then there's broccoli. Going over, there's dill, and that smells amazing. And then there's mustard. And the mustard, ever since I moved it, it's been just absolutely been growing insane. So, going all the way over to what I like to call the finale shelf, we have a lot going on over here. Just a ton of stuff. We have basil growing, cilantro, oregano, and parsley. Back there, we have celery and a daisy plant that's pretty much died out. And then the strawberry plants, and I've actually done an upgrade lately. And now on the bottom of the pots, I've now kind of cut it. So, well, I've cut kind of slivers in the sides, so hopefully it'll drain a lot better. Then, stepping back, we're gonna go ahead and go outside, and I really do want to start talking about the garden. So, I'm gonna do a pretty quick walkthrough of kind of what I'm thinking. Plant-wise, I don't really know where I'm gonna plant everything. I know where a few of my plants I'm going to be planting, and those are mainly going to be the main crops I want to focus on. I'm going to be planting a ton of flowers, and just this spot right here, and specifically, will be the main garden. I'll have a ton of those same pots that I did. You can actually kind of see the outline on the ground from when I did it last year, but I'm going to go a lot bigger with those pots, and I'm going to have one giant one right here, and I'm going to have another one, a giant one right here too. I'm really hoping that does show up in the mail later today, so I can kind of get like a comparison of how big is actually going to be, so I can maybe order another one or two. But a lot of stuff is going to happen over here. I really do need to till it, but sadly, just tillers are too expensive, and I only use it a few times throughout the year. So I think I'm going to grab a shovel and just slowly go through it and try to loosen up the soil, and I'll probably do that multiple times throughout the week. And I really need to mix up that soil too. That pile right there, once I do move that throughout all of the pots and everything else, it's getting very, very windy. But once I do move all of that, the tomato garden will go right there. And same exact design of last year. I actually cleaned up the strawberry plants yesterday off camera, and very, very excited about those. And especially today, I really started to notice a lot of progress starting in the front. I'm going to do that cucumber garden again, and I actually got a different type of cucumbers that are a little bit more tasty. Then we've already talked about this. I'm a little bit nervous for this area again, because this zone did really bad last year. Kind of what I'm saying is, like, so this was kind of like the pumpkin garden. It did okay. I really feel like one of the main causes of that was because when I did plant the seeds, they didn't really germinate. So I ended up doing a few outside, and just those were like, they did okay. I ended up planting some over here, and those did probably the best, which is not that great because just in general, it didn't do that good. So I think I might plant quite a few on the other side. On this side, I really want to change up my design this year and go with some different plants, because my garden over here did actually really bad. It did okay. I feel like just the plants didn't grow that fast, so the season just was a lot later than it should have been. I ended up planting some peppers over here. You can actually see the 3 rows that there was one right here, one right there, and one right there. I did just a lot of stuff right here, and I think I'm going to do the same thing, but instead of doing peppers, I'm going to be planting peppers and probably pots throughout all over. And just, I feel like those did a lot better because I ended up planting peppers in one pot, and those did very, very successful. I'm very, very excited and happy about that. But also, I do want to plant a lot more over here because I kind of felt like this area, now this area does have a tarp down in some spots. Not exactly right here, but a lot of it does have tarp because just we get like, it doesn't rain here often, but when it does rain here, it rains. It is like, it just rains. It just dumps down these, just the storms the last few years. We get fewer storms, but at the same time we get too much water. So we just have massive amounts of flooding. Just this area right here has flooded multiple times, and especially since we've gone like before we got this tarp, everything would come down here and we'd slowly have all of the soil and all that mulch washed away. So we'd have a giant pile right here, and every single time after a storm and everything could dry up, we would have to grab shovels and move everything back up, and that process sucked. It kind of does the same nowadays, but it doesn't do it as bad. So I'm thinking, I don't want to plant anything directly into the soil because then I have to go through the tarp. So I'm thinking I might do some like fabric pots or buy some like real like plastic pots because we do have a few, not a ton, but a few. So I might put a few around here, and I might do a small garden, maybe a few flowers, just a good selection of some stuff over here. I think that could be pretty fun, and just grow a ton of stuff over here. So I'm going to go ahead and go over here and kind of just talking about the front. Same thing, I'm going to be planting a few flowers. We're going to just do a pretty cool display of just really nice flowers, something that just looks really good and all of that fun stuff. I'm also going to be doing a lot of work with just kind of what I was saying a second ago, cucumbers. I really do want to work with cucumbers because I love to plant, I love to grow cucumbers, but for some reason, they're not my favorite thing to eat. I will eat cucumbers. It's not like I'm like, absolutely not, I'm eating them, but I'm just not the type of person that'll just eat a cucumber without anything else. Like, cucumbers are great on salads, maybe a few sandwiches here and there, but it's weird to have it by itself. So I just bought a different kind of cucumbers. I do have a ton of seeds. I probably have about 100,000 cucumber seeds for some reason. I don't really know how I ended up with that many, but now I do, I guess. So very, very excited about that, but I am still really planning stuff, and hopefully throughout the next few days, I'll get everything in the mail. Right now, I'm gonna try and get the shovels and plant. Well, not plant, I'm gonna try to move around some soil, try to get everything ready, but everything is starting to bloom. And I do think spring, for the most part, is basically here, so I'm very, very excited for that. So this sadly is going to be the end of the video. So if you guys do like these types of videos, please subscribe, hit the bell notification on all so you not miss our video, and please like this video. Thank you all so incredibly much for watching today's video and supporting the channel. I'll see you guys tomorrow when we post next. Peace.